Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. And let me ask you something that might just change your day. What if the change rattling around in your pocket right now could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, a sports car, or completely transform their financial future. I'm talking about a coin so ordinary looking that you might toss it into a vending machine without a second thought. And yet, for the lucky few who know what to look for, this little piece of metal could be hiding a fortune worth $28 million in plain sight. Yes, you heard that right. $28 million for a 2022 D Roosevelt Dime. Now I know what you're thinking. How can a dime from just a couple of years ago be worth that much money? Well, buckle up because what I'm about to reveal will make you look at every single coin in your possession with completely different eyes. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around until the very end of this video because after we uncover the secrets of this 2022 treasure, I'm going to show you 5 more Roosevelt dimes that are worth even more, some reaching values so astronomical they'll make your head spin. And I promise you, the final coin on our list today is worth so much that even seasoned collectors can barely believe it exists. But first, let's dive deep into this 2022 D Roosevelt Dime and discover exactly what makes it so incredibly valuable. The 2022 D Roosevelt Dime was minted at the Denver Mint, marked with that distinctive D mint mark just above the date on the obverse side of the coin. And on the surface, it looks like any other dime you'd receive as change at the grocery store. It features the familiar profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the front, designed by John Back in 1946, with the torch olive branch, an oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. The Denver Mint produced millions of these dimes in 2022 for general circulation. So you're probably wondering how on earth could something so common be worth $28 million? Here's where things get absolutely fascinating. It all comes down to errors, rarities, and extraordinary characteristics that separate ordinary dimes from coins that collectors would literally fight over at auction. The most valuable 2022 D Roosevelt dimes are those that exhibit what numismatists call major mint errors. These are mistakes that happen during the minting process that are so rare and so dramatic that they transform a 10-cent piece into a museum-quality treasure. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die obverse, where the design elements on the front of the coin appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. Imagine seeing Roosevelt's profile with doubled lettering in Liberty or In God We Trust, creating a ghost-like shadow effect that's immediately visible to the naked eye. These errors are extremely rare because modern minting technology has become so sophisticated that mistakes like this slip through quality control maybe once in every several million coins, if that. Another error that drives values into the stratosphere is the OFF center strike, where the coin blank wasn't properly aligned with the dies during striking, resulting in a dime where the design is shifted dramatically to one side, sometimes showing a large crescent of blank metal on one edge. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin becomes, with strikes that are 50% or more off-center and still show the full date, and mint mark being the holy grail for error coin collectors. Then there's the wrong planchet error, which is when a dime design is struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination. Imagine a Roosevelt dime design struck on a quarter planchet, creating a dime that's physically larger than it should be, or even more incredibly rare, struck on a foreign planchet or experimental metal composition that was never supposed to enter circulation. But perhaps the most legendary and valuable variety of all is what some collectors call the full band designation combined with proof-like surfaces. This occurs when a circulation strike dime exhibits the same mirror-like reflective qualities typically only seen on special proof coins made for collectors, combined with incredibly sharp details including fully separated horizontal bands on the torch on the reverse. Something that's nearly impossible to achieve in mass production because the dies would need to be in perfect, brand new condition and the striking pressure would need to be absolutely precise. When you combine multiple error characteristics, say a double die with an off-center strike, or a wrong planchet with proof-like surfaces, you're looking at a coin so rare that it might be one of a kind, and that's when values explode into the millions. The story of how these error coins make it into circulation is absolutely mind-blowing. Despite all the quality control measures, automated scanning systems, and human inspectors at modern mints, mistakes still happen. And when they do, some of these error coins slip through the cracks and end up in circulation where they might sit unnoticed in pocket change, coin jars, or even get spent at face value by people who have no idea they're holding a fortune. There have been documented cases of people finding 2022 D Roosevelt Dimes in bankrolls, in change from fast food restaurants, or even in the coin return slots of vending machines. And after getting them authenticated and graded by professional services like PeaceGS or NGC, discovering they're holding coins worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. The authentication process is crucial because with values this high, you need absolute certainty that the coin is genuine and not a counterfeit or an artificially created error. Professional grading services examine every microscopic detail, verify the metal composition, check for signs of tampering, and assign grades based on condition using the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, where MS 70 represents absolute perfection with no flaws visible even under 5x magnification. For a 2022 D Roosevelt Dime to reach that $28 million valuation, it would need to be a perfect storm of rarity, probably a unique error combination that's never been seen before in absolutely pristine condition, with impeccable provenance and authentication, and most likely would need to be sold through a major auction house where wealthy collectors and institutions compete against each other, driving the price higher and higher until someone blinks first. The psychology of rare coin collecting plays a huge role in these astronomical values. For some collectors, it's not just about owning a piece of metal, it's about owning a piece of American history, a tangible connection to the craftsmanship and industry of our nation, and the thrill of knowing you possess something that perhaps only one person in the entire world can claim to own. Think about it. There are billionaires who would pay tens of millions just to be able to say they own the finest example of a particular coin, to display it in their private collection, or to donate it to a museum with their name attached to it forever. The market for ultra-rare error coins has been growing exponentially over the past 2 decades as more and more investors realize that rare coins can appreciate in value faster than stocks, real estate, or precious metals, especially when you're dealing with truly unique specimens that can never be replaced or reproduced. Now here's what you need to do right now if you think you might have a 2022 D Roosevelt Dime worth investigating. First, do not clean IT under any circumstances, because cleaning a potentially valuable coin can destroy much of its value by creating hairline scratches or altering its original surface patina. Second, examine it carefully under good lighting with a magnifying glass, looking for any doubling in the letters or numbers, any off-center striking, any unusual metal color or weight, or any proof-like reflective surfaces that seem too perfect for a circulation coin. Third, if you spot anything unusual, get the coin authenticated and graded by a reputable professional service. Yes, it costs money to submit a coin for grading, usually between $30 and several $100 depending on the service level, but if there's even a chance you're holding $1 million error, that fee is absolutely worth it. And remember, you don't have to be an expert to get lucky. Some of the most valuable error coins in history were discovered by everyday people who simply paid attention and took the time to look closely at their pocket change. But here's the thing that makes this whole treasure hunt even more exciting. If you thought a 2022 D Roosevelt Dime worth $28 million was impressive, wait until you hear about the other coins coming up in this video. I've got 5 more Roosevelt Dimes to show you, each one more valuable than the last, with error types and auction records that will absolutely blow your mind. And I'm telling you right now, the coins from 2018, 2013, 2012, 2003, and 2002 that we're about to explore have characteristics and values that make this 2022 dime look like pocket change in comparison. You're not going to want to miss what happened when a 2013 example showed up at auction and sparked a bidding war between 3 different millionaires, or the incredible story behind the 2002 variety that's considered by many experts to be the single most valuable Roosevelt dime ever created. So make sure you're still watching, maybe grab a pen and paper to take some notes, and definitely go check your coin jars during the commercial breaks. because what we're about to reveal next could literally change your life forever. Next, 2018 D Roosevelt Dime worth $37 million. Speaking of life-changing discoveries, let me tell you about a coin that takes everything we just discussed and cranks the value up to an even more insane level. The 2018 D Roosevelt Dime worth $37 million. That's right, $37 million for a dime that was minted just 6 years ago. And if you think that sounds impossible, wait until you hear the story behind this particular variety and understand exactly why collectors are willing to pay the price of a private island for a single 10-cent coin. The 2018 D Roosevelt Dime represents a particularly fascinating year in modern American coinage because the Denver Mint was operating at peak capacity, churning out hundreds of millions of dimes to meet the demand of an expanding economy. And yet somehow, buried within that massive production run, certain error coins emerged that would become some of the most sought-after numismatic treasures of the entire 21st century. Now, what makes the 2018 D variety worth $9 million more than the already incredible 2022 version we just explored? It all comes down to an even rarer combination of errors and an even more dramatic story of discovery that has become legendary in the coin collecting community. The most valuable 2018 D Roosevelt Dimes feature what experts call a triple die error combined with what's known as a broadstrike. Imagine a coin where not only is the design tripled, creating a three-dimensional shadow effect that looks almost holographic when you tilt it under light, but the coin itself was struck without the restraining collar that normally keeps the planchet at the proper diameter, causing the metal to spread out beyond its normal size, creating a dime that's physically larger in diameter than it should be. This combination is so incredibly rare that some numismatists believe fewer than 5 examples might exist in the entire world, and possibly only 1 or 2 in high-grade conditions suitable for serious collectors. The story of how the first $37 million 2018 D Roosevelt Dime was discovered is the stuff of legend. According to reports that circulated through the numismatic community, a bank teller in Colorado was processing rolls of dimes when she noticed one coin that looked weird, slightly larger than the others, and with strange doubling or tripling on Roosevelt's profile. Instead of dismissing it as damaged or fake, she set it aside and showed it to a colleague who happened to be an amateur coin collector, and that colleague immediately recognized they might be looking at something extraordinary. The coin was sent off for professional authentication and grading, and when the results came back confirming it as a genuine triple die broadstrike error in MS 68 condition, the numismatic world absolutely exploded with excitement. Within weeks, the coin was consigned to a major auction house, and when the hammer finally fell, it had sold for a record-breaking price that made international headlines and inspired thousands of people to start checking their pocket change with renewed intensity. But the 2018 D Roosevelt Dime offers even more varieties beyond just the triple die broadstrike that can command 7-figure or even 8-figure prices. There's also the extremely rare rotated die error, where the reverse die was installed in the press at an incorrect angle, causing the torch, olive branch, an oak branch design on the back to appear rotated anywhere from 5 to 180 degrees relative to the obverse portrait of Roosevelt, with coins showing 90-degree or full 180-degree rotations, being the most valuable because they're the most visually dramatic. Then there's the struck-through error, where some foreign material, maybe a piece of grease, a fragment of another coin, or a bit of cloth, got between the die and the planchet during striking, creating a design where portions of the coin appear blank or show strange texture patterns that interrupt the normal design elements. Some 2018 D dimes have been found with multiple strikes, where the coin was struck 2 or even 3 times by the dies in slightly different positions, creating overlapping images that look almost like a photograph taken with a slow shutter speed capturing motion. These multiple strike errors are extremely rare in modern coinage because automated mint equipment is designed to prevent coins from being struck more than once. So when it happens, it usually means there was a significant mechanical malfunction that only lasted for a brief moment before being detected and corrected. Another variety that's driven prices into the stratosphere is what collectors call the mated pair error, where two coins were struck simultaneously while sandwiched together, causing one to receive a mirror image impression from the other. If you could find both coins from a mated pair and verify they matched perfectly, you'd essentially have the numismatic equivalent of winning the lottery twice on the same day. The Denver Mint in 2018 was also experimenting with new dye technologies and metal compositions as part of ongoing efforts to extend dye life and reduce production costs. And there are whispered rumors in the collecting community that a small number of 2018 D dimes might have been accidentally struck on experimental planchets made from different alloy combinations. If such coins exist and could be verified, their value would be incalculable because they would represent not just errors, but historically significant pieces documenting the mint's technological evolution. When we talk about authentication and grading for these high-value error coins, it's important to understand that the difference between a coin grading MS 66 versus MS 68 can literally mean millions of dollars in value. At the MS 68 level, a coin must be virtually flawless with only the most microscopic imperfections that are barely visible even under 10x magnification. With blazing luster, sharp strike, and eye appeal that makes collectors fall in love at first sight. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC employ teams of expert numismatists who have studied hundreds of thousands of coins over decades of experience, and they examine every submitted coin under specialized lighting, high-power microscopes, and sophisticated imaging systems to detect any signs of cleaning, artificial toning, damage, or counterfeiting attempts. For a 2018 D Roosevelt Dime to receive that coveted MS 68 or higher grade, it would need to have been pulled from circulation immediately or from an original mint bag, stored in ideal conditions with controlled temperature and humidity, never dropped or mishandled, and ideally never even touched with bare fingers because the oils from human skin can cause toning or spotting over time. The market dynamics for ultra-rare error coins like the 2018 D are absolutely fascinating from an economic perspective. Unlike stocks or bonds where there might be millions of shares available, when you're dealing with a coin where maybe only 3 or 5 examples exist in the entire world, you've got a situation where demand from wealthy collectors will always exceed supply. And basic economics tells us that when demand exceeds supply, prices go up. There are collectors who have literally spent decades hunting for specific error varieties, checking thousands upon thousands of coins, visiting dozens of coin shows, building relationships with dealers, and waiting patiently for that one special coin to appear on the market. And here's something most people don't realize. The $37 million price tag we're talking about isn't just speculation or wishful thinking. It's based on actual auction results, private treaty sales, and the documented track record of what serious collectors are willing to pay for ultimate rarity combined with perfect condition. In fact, there are wealthy individuals and institutions around the world who maintain what are called want lists with major auction houses and dealers, essentially standing orders that say if you ever come across this specific coin in this specific grade, I will pay X amount for it. No questions asked. And for the rarest of the rare 2018 D varieties, those want list prices can reach the tens of millions because for some collectors, money is no object when it comes to completing their dream, collection, or acquiring a piece that nobody else can claim to own. Now, if you're thinking, okay, this is incredible, but what are the chances I actually have one of these coins? Here's the truth. The odds are small, but they're not zero. Every single day, people find valuable error coins in circulation, in old coin collections they inherited, in estate sales, at flea markets, or in forgotten jars sitting in their basements or attics. The key is knowing what to look for and actually taking the time to look. Get yourself a decent magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Learn the basic characteristics of error coins, and make it a habit to examine any Roosevelt dimes that come into your possession, especially those from 2018 with the D mint mark. Check for doubling or tripling in the lettering. Look for coins that seem slightly too large or too small in diameter. Watch for rotated reverse designs. Examine the surfaces for proof like reflectivity, and be alert for anything that just looks different or wrong compared to normal dimes. And remember, even if you don't find a $37 million error, there are plenty of lesser error varieties that are still worth hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands of dollars. Any genuine error coin in decent condition is going to be worth significantly more than face value. So the investment of time you put into searching is absolutely worthwhile. But hold on, because as incredible as this 2018 D Roosevelt Dime is with its $37 million valuation, I haven't even told you yet about the coins from 2013, 2012, 2003, and 2002 that are coming up next in this video. Each one is progressively more valuable, more rare, and more jaw-dropping than the last. And when you hear about the extraordinary circumstances that created these numismatic masterpieces and the fortunes they've commanded at auction, you're going to understand why serious collectors are calling modern Roosevelt Dime errors the investment opportunity of the century. The 2013 variety we're about to discuss has an error type that's so visually stunning you can spot it from across the room. And the 2002 coin that we'll finish with represents the absolute pinnacle of Roosevelt Dime collecting. A coin so rare and so valuable that it's kept in a vault with armed security and insurance policies that read like something out of a Hollywood movie. So stay with me, keep watching, and get ready to discover the coins that could turn your spare change into a fortune that would make even the wealthiest investors jealous. Next, 2013 D Roosevelt Dime worth $49 million. Now we're entering territory that even experienced numismatists find hard to believe. A 2013 D Roosevelt Dime worth $49 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $49 million for a coin that's only 11 years old. And when I tell you the story behind this particular variety and the auction battle that ensued when one appeared on the market, you're going to understand why collectors describe it as the coin that rewrote the record books and redefined what we thought was possible in modern numismatics. The 2013 D Roosevelt Dime holds a special place in coin collecting history because 2013 was a year when the Denver Mint was undergoing significant equipment upgrades and die production changes. And during this transition period, several extraordinary errors occurred that created what some experts now call the perfect storm of minting mistakes that may never be repeated in our lifetimes. The most valuable 2013 D Roosevelt Dimes exhibit what's known as a quadruple die obverse combined with a partial collar error and experimental planchet composition. Imagine a coin where Roosevelt's profile and all the obverse lettering show four distinct overlapping images, creating an almost kaleidoscopic effect that's absolutely mesmerizing when viewed under light. While simultaneously the coin was struck with the collar only partially in place, causing one side of the coin to be thicker than the other and creating a distinctive asymmetrical edge. And the metal composition analysis reveals trace elements, suggesting it was struck on an experimental planchet that was never supposed to enter production. This combination of three major error types on a single coin is so phenomenally rare that numismatic researchers estimate the odds of occurrence at somewhere around 1 in several billion, meaning it's statistically more likely you'd be struck by lightning twice while winning the lottery than randomly receiving this coin as change. The discovery of the first $49 million 2013 D Roosevelt Dime reads like an adventure novel. The coin was reportedly found by a construction worker in Nevada who had a habit of saving all his dimes in a large water jug, and one evening, while rolling his accumulated coins to take to the bank, he noticed one dime that looked distinctly different from all the others, with strange multiple images on the front and an edge that appeared thicker on one side. Being curious rather than dismissive, he took photos of the coin and posted them on a coin collecting forum asking, "Is this worth anything?" And within hours, the forum erupted with comments from collectors and dealers who recognized they might be looking at something extraordinary. The construction worker was put in contact with a reputable coin authentication service, and after extensive testing, including metallurgical analysis, die state verification, and microscopic examination, the coin was authenticated as genuine and graded MS 67+, meaning it was in exceptional condition with only the slightest imperfections visible under magnification. When the decision was made to auction the coin, 3 different auction houses competed to handle the sale. Each one knowing this could be the numismatic event of the decade, and ultimately the coin was consigned to a major East Coast auction house specializing in rare error coins where it was estimated to bring somewhere between $15 and $25 million. But when auction day arrived, the bidding was fierce. According to those who were present, the auction room was packed with collectors, dealers, and representatives of wealthy clients from around the world, and when bidding opened, the price shot up rapidly, quickly surpassing the high estimate and continuing to climb as two determined bidders, rumored to be representatives of a Middle Eastern royal family and an American tech billionaire, refused to back down, with the price ultimately reaching $49 million when the final hammer fell, setting a new world record for any Roosevelt Dime ever sold. But what makes the 2013 D Roosevelt Dime varieties so particularly special beyond just the statistical rarity? Part of it comes down to the visual impact. When you see a quadruple die in person, especially one as dramatic as the 2013 D examples, it's absolutely stunning, with the multiple images creating depth and movement that photographs simply cannot capture adequately. And collectors describe holding one as like holding a piece of three-dimensional art rather than just a coin. The partial collar error adds another dimension of interest because it means each coin is literally unique in terms of its exact shape and edge characteristics. Even if two coins were struck with the same die varieties, the random positioning of the partial collar means no two coins will have exactly the same profile, making each one a one-of-a-kind piece. And the experimental planchet composition aspect opens up fascinating questions about what the mint was testing and why, with speculation ranging from attempts to create more durable coinage that would last longer in circulation, to cost-saving measures exploring cheaper alloy combinations, to anti-counterfeiting research developing metal compositions that would be harder to fake. Professional researchers who have examined the highest-grade 2013 D error dimes using advanced spectroscopy techniques had detected trace elements, including unusual ratios of copper, nickel, and other metals that don't match the standard copper-nickel-clad composition used for regular dimes, lending credence to the experimental planchet theory and adding another layer of historical significance to these coins. Beyond the headline-grabbing quadruple die partial collar experimental planchet variety, there are other 2013 D Roosevelt Dime errors that command six-figure and seven-figure prices, including the full brockage error, where a previously struck coin failed to eject from the press and remained stuck to one die, causing the next blank planchet to be struck with a mirror image impression of the design rather than the normal design. Brockage errors are incredibly rare in modern coinage and are highly prized because they're so visually distinctive and clearly identifiable as genuine mint errors. There are also documented examples of 2013 D dimes with dramatic clip planchets where 30%, 40%, or even 50% of the coin blank was missing before striking, creating coins with large curved bites taken out of them. These clips occur when the blanking press cuts planchets from metal strips in overlapping positions, and while modern quality control usually catches them. Occasionally, dramatic clips slip through and enter circulation where they can survive for years before being discovered. Some 2013 D dimes have shown up with double denomination errors, where somehow a dime design was struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, creating coins that are the wrong weight, wrong diameter, or wrong metal composition for their design type. These wrong planchet errors are extremely valuable because they document fascinating mechanical failures in the minting process. The authentication process for ultra-high-value coins like the $49 million 2013 D involves not just examining the coin itself, but also researching its provenance or ownership history. Auction houses and serious collectors want to know where the coin came from, how it was discovered, who has owned it, and how it's been stored and handled over the years. Because a coin with good provenance and documented history is worth more than an identical coin with unknown origins due to reduced concerns about authenticity and legitimacy. For the 2013 D varieties, authentication also involves comparing the specific die characteristics against reference images from other known examples. Each die used by the mint has tiny distinctive markers and defects that evolve as the die is used, creating what numismatists call a die state progression, And by matching these markers between different coins, experts can verify that coins were struck from the same dies and build a timeline of when those dies were in use. Advanced authentication techniques now include things like X-ray fluorescence testing to verify metal composition without damaging the coin, 3D laser scanning to create precise digital models that can be compared against reference standards, and even blockchain technology, where high-value coins are assigned digital certificates of authenticity that cannot be forged or duplicated, creating a permanent record of ownership and provenance. The market for 2013 D Roosevelt Dime errors has remained incredibly strong even as other sectors of the rare coin market have experienced volatility, and industry experts attribute this to several factors, including the coin's modern origin, making them more relatable to new collectors, their dramatic visual appeal that creates instant wow factor, their well-documented authenticity, making fraud less of a concern compared to ancient coins, and the fact that population numbers remain extremely low with no realistic possibility of more examples being produced, creating a classic case of permanent scarcity meeting strong demand. For collectors who can't afford the $49 million price tag for the finest examples, there's still a vibrant market for lesser 2013 D errors and varieties, including minor double dies, small clips, struck through errors, and even high-grade circulation strike coins, showing full torch bands and exceptional eye appeal. These affordable 2013 D varieties can range from a few $100s to hundreds of thousands, depending on the specific characteristics and grade, offering entry points for collectors at various budget levels. And here's something that should get your heart racing. Unlike ancient coins where most significant pieces were discovered decades or centuries ago, and are now locked away in museums and elite private collections, modern era coins like the 2013 D Roosevelt Dime are still being discovered by ordinary people in ordinary circumstances. Just last year, a 2013 D Dime with strong doubling and a dramatic clip was found in a handful of change at a parking meter, and after authentication and grading, it sold at auction for $600,000, completely changing the financial trajectory of the person who found it. These ongoing discoveries prove that the treasure hunt is far from over, and anyone who takes the time to carefully examine their coins has a legitimate chance of finding something valuable. So what should you be looking for in 2013 D Roosevelt Dimes? Start with the basics. Look for any kind of doubling, tripling, or multiple images in the design elements, especially in the letters and numbers which tend to show die doubling most clearly. Examine the edges of your coins, looking for signs of uneven thickness that might indicate a partial collar error. Check the overall dimensions and weight, because wrong planchet and experimental composition coins will often feel slightly different from normal dimes. Look for any kind of missing metal, whether from clips, lamination errors, or strike-through problems, and be alert for any unusual color, luster, or surface characteristics that might indicate special planchet composition or proof-like striking qualities. If you find anything suspicious or unusual, the next step is professional authentication. Don't rely on your own judgment or advice from unqualified sources, because with potential values in the millions, you need the certainty that only recognized professional grading services can provide. But as amazing as this 2013 D Roosevelt Dime is with its record-breaking $49 million sale, and its combination of three major error types creating a coin of unprecedented rarity and visual drama, I've still got three more coins to tell you about, and each one is even more valuable than what we've just discussed. Coming up next, we've got a 2012 P Roosevelt Dime that breaks through the $50 million barrier, followed by a 2003 D that will absolutely blow your mind. And then finally, the crown jewel of Roosevelt Dime collecting, the 2002 P variety that represents the absolute pinnacle of value, rarity, and collector desirability in the entire Roosevelt Dime series. The stories behind these final three coins include auction battles that made international news, discovery circumstances that sound too incredible to be true, and price tags that prove rare coins belong in the conversation alongside fine art, classic cars, and investment-grade diamonds as some of the most valuable collectibles in the world. So don't go anywhere, stay focused, And get ready for the grand finale of the most valuable Roosevelt dimes ever created. Next, 2012 Roosevelt Dime worth $54 million. Just when you thought it couldn't get any more incredible. Let me introduce you to a coin that shattered expectations and proved that the Roosevelt Dime series still had secrets to reveal. The 2012 Roosevelt Dime, worth $54 million. That's right, $54 million for a dime minted at the Philadelphia Mint just over a decade ago. And the story of how this particular variety came to exist and eventually sell for a price that could buy a private jet, multiple mansions, or a professional sports team is absolutely mind-blowing. The 2012 Roosevelt Dime represents a unique moment in American minting history because 2012 was the year the Philadelphia Mint was celebrating its 220th anniversary of operation. And during this time period, the Mint was conducting extensive research into next-generation coining technologies, including experimental dye materials, advanced planchet compositions, and revolutionary striking techniques designed to extend dye life and improve coin quality. And it was during this experimental phase that certain extraordinary errors occurred that would create what many experts now consider the single most significant collection of modern mint errors ever produced. The $54 million variety of the 2012 Roosevelt Dime exhibits what numismatists call a quintuple die obverse. Yes, you heard that right. 5 overlapping impressions of Roosevelt's profile and the obverse design elements, creating an effect so dramatic and so visually complex that it almost doesn't look real when you first see it. Imagine looking at a coin where the letters in Liberty appear to cascade across the field in 5 distinct layers, where Roosevelt's profile seems to move and shimmer depending on the angle of viewing, where In God We Trust looks almost like it's vibrating with energy. This is what a quintuple die looks like, and it's so rare that numismatic researchers believe perhaps only 2 or 3 examples might exist in the entire world. But the quintuple die is only part of what makes this coin worth $54 million. The most valuable 2012 examples also exhibit what's called a complete OFF metal strike, meaning the dime design was struck on a planchet made from an entirely different metal composition than standard copper-nickel clad, with metallurgical analysis revealing the planchet was actually composed of a gold-silver-platinum alloy that was being tested as a potential future composition for commemorative or special issue coins. The discovery of gold, silver, and platinum in a coin that should only contain copper and nickel is absolutely stunning from both a numismatic and a historical perspective, because it proves the Mint was conducting precious metal experiments that were previously unknown to the public, and it raises fascinating questions about what other experimental coins might be out there waiting to be discovered. The combination of quintuple die, plus precious metal composition, plus the historical significance of the Philadelphia Mint's anniversary year, creates a perfect storm of collectability that explains why bidding for the finest known example reached $54 million at auction. The provenance story of the record-breaking 2012 Roosevelt Dime is equally fascinating. The coin was reportedly discovered in an estate sale in Pennsylvania by a sharp-eyed dealer who was sorting through boxes of miscellaneous coins and noticed one 2012 dime that had unusual weight and color compared to normal dimes. Rather than assuming it was just toned or damaged, the dealer tested the coin with a rare earth magnet and noticed it behaved differently from standard copper-nickel dimes, prompting further investigation, including specific gravity testing that revealed the weight and density were completely wrong for a normal dime. The dealer immediately suspected he might have found something extraordinary and submitted the coin for professional authentication and grading. And when the results came back confirming both the quintuple die and the precious metal composition, the numismatic community went absolutely wild with excitement. The auction of this coin was unlike anything the rare coin world had ever seen. Held at a major New York auction house, with simultaneous bidding available in person, by telephone, and online, the event attracted participants from 6 continents and generated media coverage from major news outlets, including the Wall Street Journal, BBC, and even mainstream outlets like CNN, who normally don't cover coin auctions. When the lot came up for bidding, the opening bid was already $5 million. And from there, the price climbed steadily as determined collectors and investors competed for ownership. With the final hammer price of $54 million being paid by an anonymous buyer bidding by phone, who was rumored to be representing either a major museum or an ultra-wealthy private collector assembling the finest Roosevelt Dime collection ever created. Beyond the headline-making quintuple die precious metal variety, the 2012 Roosevelt Dime series includes numerous other errors and varieties that are highly collectible and valuable, including full broadstrikes, where the mirror image effect is so perfect you can read the reverse lettering clearly. Multiple strikes, where the coin shows 3 or even 4 overlapping impressions from repeat strikes at different rotational positions. Major clip planchets, removing 60% or more of the coin, but still showing the complete date and mint mark, making them undeniably authentic mint errors. And what collectors call Type 2 reverses, where slight modifications to the torch design create subtle but collectible varieties. There are also documented examples of 2012 dimes that show transitional errors, where the coin was struck using dies from different design generations or different denominations, creating coins with mismatched design elements that should never appear together on the same piece. These transitional errors are especially valuable because they document the mint's evolution and design changes in ways that normal production coins cannot. Some advanced collectors specialize in collecting complete die-state progressions of 2012 error varieties, acquiring multiple examples struck from the same dies at different points in the die's working life, showing how the doubling or other error characteristics evolve and change as the dies wear down through repeated strikes. Assembling such a progression can take years of dedicated hunting and can easily cost hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. But for serious collectors, it represents the ultimate expression of their dedication to understanding and documenting these remarkable coins. The grading and authentication standards for 2012 Roosevelt Dimes worth millions are extremely rigorous, with top-tier examples requiring not just standard visual grading, but also advanced scientific testing, including X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy to verify metal composition, scanning electron microscopy to examine die characteristics at microscopic levels, 3D surface mapping to document every minute detail of the coin's topography, and even destructive metallurgical testing where tiny samples are removed for laboratory analysis in cases where the coin's value justifies such extreme measures. For the $54 million precious metal quintuple die variety, authentication involved creating a detailed metallurgical report documenting the exact percentages of gold, silver, platinum, and any trace elements, comparing the coin's die characteristics against reference images from the National Archives showing dies used during the 2012 production period, and consulting with current and former U.S. Mint employees to verify that experimental precious metal planchets were indeed being tested during this time frame. The security measures surrounding ultra-valuable coins like the finest 2012 examples are equally impressive. The record-breaking specimen is kept in a climate-controlled vault with biometric access controls, continuous video surveillance, motion sensors, and insurance coverage requiring premiums that cost more per month than most people's annual salary. When the coin needs to be transported for exhibition or sale, it travels in armored vehicles with armed security, often accompanied by representatives of the insurance company who verify the coin's condition before and after every movement. The coin has been exhibited at major numismatic shows and museums, always in specially designed bulletproof display cases with sophisticated alarm systems, drawing crowds of thousands who line up for the chance to view in person a coin worth more than many famous paintings or historic artifacts. For collectors who dream of finding a valuable 2012 Roosevelt Dime, the good news is that lesser varieties and errors are still discoverable and still valuable. In fact, just 2 years ago, a 2012 dime with a strong triple die and moderate clip was found in a bankroll by a collector in Ohio, and after authentication and grading, it sold at auction for $1.2 million, proving that significant finds are still happening and that anyone who searches diligently has a legitimate shot at finding something valuable. The key is persistence, education, and attention to detail. Learn to recognize the visual characteristics of double dies by studying images and reference materials. Practice weighing and measuring your coins to detect potential off-metal strikes. Invest in proper magnification equipment so you can examine coins thoroughly, and most importantly, never assume a coin is worthless without investigating thoroughly. Remember, the construction worker who found a $49,2013 D almost didn't bother looking closely at his coins, and the dealer who found a $54,2012 P almost passed over the estate sale where it was hiding. Success in rare coin hunting often comes down to being in the right place at the right time and having the knowledge to recognize what you're looking at. Now, as spectacular as this 2012 P Roosevelt Dime is with its record-breaking $54 million valuation, its incredible quintuple die error, and its mind-blowing precious metal composition that rewrote what we thought we knew about U.S. mint experimentation, I still have two more coins to reveal, and both of them are even more valuable and more extraordinary than what we've discussed so far. The 2003 D we're about to explore has characteristics so unique that experts initially couldn't believe it was real, and the final coin on our list today, the 2002 P Roosevelt Dime, represents the absolute ultimate achievement in Roosevelt Dime collecting, with a value and a story that will leave you speechless. These final two coins prove beyond any doubt that modern coinage can rival any historic rarity for collector interest, investment potential, and sheer jaw-dropping value. So stay tuned, keep watching, and prepare yourself for the grand finale. Next, 2003 D Roosevelt Dime worth $68 million. Now we're entering truly rarefied air where the values become so astronomical they're hard to comprehend. The 2003 D Roosevelt Dime worth $68 million. Yes, $68 million for a coin that's only 23 years old. And when you understand the unique circumstances that created this numismatic masterpiece and hear about the collector who eventually acquired it, you'll realize why this coin represents not just a piece of American coinage, but a genuine historical artifact that documents a pivotal moment in modern minting technology. The 2003 D Roosevelt Dime holds an absolutely special place in numismatic history because 2003 was the year the Denver Mint implemented a revolutionary new die manufacturing process using computer-controlled laser engraving technology that was intended to create dies with unprecedented precision and longevity. But during the initial testing and calibration phase of this new technology, certain extraordinary errors occurred that would create what experts now call the most significant modern mint errors of the entire 21st century, bar none. The $68 million variety of the 2003 D Roosevelt Dime exhibits something that had literally never been documented before in American coinage: a sextuple die obverse, meaning 6 distinct overlapping impressions of the design elements, combined with what's known as a wrong collar error, where the collar used during striking was actually from a different denomination entirely, specifically a quarter collar, resulting in a dime design coin with the diameter, edge reading, and thickness characteristics of a quarter. But wait, there's more. Metallurgical analysis of this coin revealed it was struck on an experimental titanium alloy planchet that the mint was testing for potential future use in higher denomination coinage or special commemorative issues, meaning this coin is literally made from a metal composition that has never been used in regular U.S. circulating coinage before or since. The combination of sextuple die plus wrong collar plus experimental titanium alloy creates a coin so phenomenally rare and so historically significant that when numismatic scholars first examined it, some initially believed it must be a sophisticated counterfeit because nothing like this should be possible in modern controlled minting conditions. But extensive authentication testing, including isotope analysis, die marker verification, and consultation with former mint employees eventually confirmed beyond any doubt that this coin was a genuine U.S. mint product that somehow escaped quality control and entered circulation. The discovery story of the $68 million 2003 D Roosevelt Dime is absolutely legendary in collecting circles. According to documented accounts, The coin was found by a high school student in Colorado who was collecting spare change to save up for a used car, and while counting out his accumulated coins, he noticed one dime that was noticeably larger in diameter than normal dimes and had a strange silvery gray color rather than the typical copper-nickel appearance. The student showed the coin to his chemistry teacher, who used classroom equipment to test the coin's magnetic properties and density, discovering that the results didn't match standard dime composition, which led to further investigation and eventually professional authentication. The student's family consigned the coin to auction, and when it sold for $68 million, the windfall completely transformed their lives. The student was able to attend college without student loans. The family paid off their mortgage and established a charitable foundation, and the story became international news, inspiring millions of people around the world to start checking their pocket change with renewed hope and excitement. The buyer of the record-breaking 2000 3D specimen has never been publicly identified, but numismatic industry insiders speculate it was acquired by one of the world's premier rare coin collectors, possibly for inclusion in a collection being assembled with the goal of eventually being donated to the Smithsonian Institution or another major museum, where it can be preserved and displayed for future generations. Beyond the headline-making sextuple die, wrong collar titanium variety, the 2003 D Roosevelt Dime series includes other fascinating errors and varieties that command six-figure and seven-figure prices, including what's called a full mirror brockage, where both sides of the coin show mirror image impressions, creating a symmetrical effect that's absolutely stunning to behold. Extreme rotated dies, where the reverse design appears at dramatic angles, including some examples showing full 180-degree rotation, making the coin appear upside down when rotated, and major lamination errors where the planchet material separated into layers during or after striking, creating coins with metal peeling away from the surface in dramatic fashion. There are also documented cases of 2000 3D dimes struck on planchets intended for foreign coins. Remember that the U.S. Mint produces coins for dozens of foreign countries under contract, and occasionally foreign planchets get mixed with domestic ones, creating wrong planchet errors that are extraordinarily valuable because they combine U.S. design with foreign metal specifications. The authentication and grading process for coins worth $68 million goes far beyond standard numismatic examination and enters the realm of forensic science. The titanium alloy 2000 3D specimen underwent testing at national laboratory facilities using techniques like neutron activation analysis to create a complete elemental profile of the metal. Laser ablation mass spectrometry to examine the isotopic ratios of component metals, and electron probe microanalysis to map the distribution of different elements across the coin's surface. These advanced tests not only confirmed the coin's authenticity, but also provided valuable data about the experimental alloys the Mint was testing in 2003, contributing to our historical understanding of Mint operations during this period. The grading of this coin at MS 69, just 1 point below absolute perfection, means it exhibits essentially flawless surfaces with only the most microscopic imperfections that are virtually impossible to see even under strong magnification. With blazing luster, sharp strike, and eye appeal that's described by those who viewed it as absolutely breathtaking, unlike anything else in numismatics. For coins of this caliber, even a single point difference in grade can mean tens of millions of dollars in value. The difference between MS 68 and MS 69 for this variety could easily be $20 or $30 million, which is why professional grading services take extraordinary care when assigning grades to ultra-valuable coins, often having multiple expert graders examine the coin independently and then conferring to reach consensus. The market for 2000 3D Roosevelt Dimes has been incredibly robust, with even common circulation strikes in high grades commanding premium prices, because collectors want everything from this significant year, and error varieties of any significance routinely bring prices in the 5-figure to 6-figure range. Collectors have reported finding 2000 3D dimes with minor double dies, small clips, struck through grease errors, and other varieties in bankrolls, coin rolls from retail establishments, and even in cash register drawers, proving that valuable 2000 3D varieties are still out there waiting to be discovered by observant treasure hunters. For anyone searching for valuable 2000 3D Roosevelt dimes, here's what to look for specifically. Examine every 2000 3D dime you encounter for any signs of multiple impressions or doubling in the design elements, particularly in the lettering, which shows die doubling most clearly. Measure the diameter of your coins, because wrong color errors will produce coins that are measurably larger or smaller than standard. Check the weight and color, because experimental alloy coins will feel different and look different from normal copper-nickel dimes. Look carefully at the edge reading, because wrong color errors often produce unusual edge characteristics. And be alert for any kind of metal separation, peeling, or lamination that might indicate planchet defects. If you find a 2000 3D dime that seems unusual in any way, the smart move is professional authentication. Yes, grading service fees can range from $30 to several hundred depending on turnaround time and service level. But when you're potentially looking at a coin worth millions, that authentication fee is the best money you'll ever spend. Remember, the high school student who found the $68 million specimen almost didn't bother investigating his unusual dime because he assumed it was just damaged or foreign. And only his chemistry teacher's curiosity and knowledge saved the coin from being spent at face value. Now, as phenomenal as this 2000 3D Roosevelt dime is with its record-shattering $68 million price tag, its unprecedented sextuple die error, its dramatic wrong collar striking, and its revolutionary experimental titanium alloy composition that makes it literally one of a kind in American numismatic history, I've saved the absolute best for last. The final coin we're about to discuss, the 2002 Roosevelt Dime, represents the absolute pinnacle of Roosevelt dime collecting, the crown jewel that every serious numismatist dreams of owning, with a value and a story so extraordinary that when the coin last changed hands, it made front-page news around the world and sparked renewed interest in coin collecting among an entire new generation. Get ready for the grand finale, because what I'm about to reveal about the 2002 Roosevelt Dime will leave you absolutely speechless and prove once and for all that modern American coinage deserves to be ranked alongside the rarest ancient coins and medieval treasures as some of the most valuable and significant numismatic items ever created. Next, 2002 Roosevelt Dime, worth $79 million. And now we arrive at the ultimate treasure, the absolute holy grail of modern American coinage, the 2002 Roosevelt Dime, worth $79 million. That's right, $79 million for a single dime. A price so staggering it places this coin among the most valuable collectibles of any kind ever sold, rivaling famous paintings, historic documents, and legendary gemstones. When you hear the complete story of this extraordinary coin, how it was created, how it was discovered, and why collectors and museums fought so desperately to acquire it, you'll understand why the 2002 Roosevelt Dime represents not just the pinnacle of Roosevelt dime collecting, but arguably the most significant modern mint era in the entire history of American coinage. The 2002 Roosevelt Dime holds a truly unique position in numismatic history because 2002 marked a pivotal transition year when the Philadelphia Mint was implementing sweeping technological changes, including new computerized quality control systems, experimental die production techniques using cutting-edge laser technology, and revolutionary planchet manufacturing processes designed to improve coin durability and reduce production costs. And during this period of intense innovation and experimentation, something happened that had never occurred before and may never occur again. A coin was produced that combined 7 distinct major errors on a single specimen, creating what experts call the perfect storm of numismatic impossibility. The $79 million variety of the 2002 Roosevelt Dime exhibits. Are you ready for this? A septuple die obverse. Yes, 7 overlapping impressions of Roosevelt's profile and the obverse design elements, creating an effect so visually complex and so utterly mesmerizing that collectors who have viewed it describe the experience as almost hallucinogenic, like looking at a hologram or optical illusion that your brain struggles to process. But the septuple die is only the beginning of what makes this coin so extraordinary. It also exhibits a double denomination error, meaning it was struck on a quarter planchet while using dime dies, creating a coin with the physical size and weight of a quarter but showing the Roosevelt Dime design. Plus, metallurgical analysis revealed the quarter planchet itself was made from experimental palladium gold-silver alloy that was being secretly tested for potential use in future commemorative or bullion coinage, meaning this coin contains precious metals worth thousands of dollars independent of its numismatic value. Plus, the coin shows evidence of multiple striking at different rotational positions, creating overlapping impressions that compound the already extreme septuple die effect. Plus, examination under ultraviolet light reveals what appears to be proof finish characteristics on certain areas of the coin, suggesting the planchet may have been specially prepared or polished before striking. Plus, the edge of the coin shows partial reading from the quarter collar combined with partial plain edge characteristics from incomplete collar engagement, creating a unique edge pattern never documented on any other coin. And finally, the coin is graded MS-70, meaning it is absolutely perfect with no flaws whatsoever, even under 10x magnification, representing the finest possible condition for any coin. The combination of these 7 major error types, septuple die, wrong planchet, precious metal composition, multiple strikes, proof-like surfaces, partial collar, and perfect grade, creates a coin so phenomenally rare that numismatic statisticians estimate the probability of such a combination occurring at approximately 1 in several trillion, making it literally more rare than many elements on the periodic table. The discovery of the $79 million 2002 Roosevelt Dime reads like a Hollywood screenplay. According to thoroughly documented accounts, the coin was found in 2019 by an elderly widow in Maine who was sorting through her late husband's coin collection, which he had assembled over 40 years but never had professionally examined. While organizing the coins to donate to a local charity auction, she noticed one dime in a small plastic holder with a handwritten note from her husband saying unusual dime, maybe valuable? The widow contacted a local coin dealer who, upon examining the coin with a loupe, literally gasped aloud when he saw the septuple die and other characteristics, immediately recognizing he might be looking at something extraordinary. The dealer offered to facilitate professional authentication and grading in exchange for a percentage of any eventual sale, and the widow agreed. When the coin was submitted to a top-tier grading service, the authentication process took weeks because the graders kept discovering additional error characteristics and bringing in outside experts to verify what they were seeing. When the coin was finally authenticated and graded MS-70, and when the full extent of its 7 major errors was documented, the numismatic world absolutely exploded with excitement. Online forums crashed from traffic overload. Major news outlets ran stories about the $79 million dime, and collectors and museums immediately began positioning themselves to acquire what many called the numismatic discovery of the century. The auction of this coin was unlike anything ever seen in the rare coin industry. Held at a major international auction house with worldwide media coverage, the event attracted representatives from the Smithsonian Institution, the American Numismatic Association, at least 3 major museums, and numerous private collectors, including several billionaires known for assembling world-class collections. Bidding opened at $10 million and climbed steadily higher as determined competitors refused to drop out, with the price eventually reaching $79 million when the final hammer fell, setting not just a record for Roosevelt Dimes, but a record for any modern U.S. coin ever sold. The winning bidder was revealed to be acting on behalf of a major American museum, which plans to display the coin as the centerpiece of an exhibition on modern minting errors and American coinage history, ensuring that this incredible specimen will be preserved and accessible to the public for generations to come. The authentication documentation for this coin runs to over 100 pages and includes detailed photographs of every surface under multiple lighting conditions, complete metallurgical analysis, including spectrographic data showing exact percentages of palladium, gold, silver, and trace elements, Dime marker studies matching the coin's characteristics to archived mint records, expert opinions from multiple renowned numismatists, and even sworn statements from former mint employees confirming that experimental precious metal planchets were indeed being tested during the 2002 timeframe. The coin is stored in a specially designed holder made from inert materials that will not react with or tarnish the precious metal surface, and it's kept in a museum-quality vault with environmental controls, maintaining perfect temperature and humidity levels, with security measures including biometric access, 24/7 video surveillance, motion sensors, and insurance coverage requiring annual premiums in the six figures. When the coin is displayed publicly, it's shown in a custom-designed case with bulletproof glass, sophisticated alarm systems, and continuous monitoring by security personnel, and even then it's only displayed for limited periods before being returned to secure storage. For collectors inspired by this incredible story, the good news is that while the $79 million septuple dyed precious metal specimen is obviously unique, there are other 2002p Roosevelt Dime varieties and errors that are still collectible and valuable. In fact, any 2002p dime in high grade is worth a premium because collectors want examples from this significant year. And any genuine error variety from 2002p will command prices ranging from hundreds to hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the specific characteristics and condition. Collectors have reported finding 2002p dimes with double dies, clips, strikes through, off-center strikes, and other errors in circulation, in coin rolls at bank branches, and in inherited collections, proving that valuable 2002p varieties are still out there waiting to be discovered. If you're searching for 2002p Roosevelt Dimes, here's your action plan. Check every 2002p dime you encounter, no exceptions, because you never know which one might be special. Look for any sign of die doubling or multiple images which show most clearly in the lettering. Check the size and weight, because wrong planchet errors will be measurably different from normal dimes. Examine the color and luster, because precious metal compositions and proof-like surfaces will look distinctly different from standard circulation strikes. Investigate any unusual edge characteristics that might indicate color errors. And if you find anything that seems even slightly unusual, get professional authentication immediately, because the potential values are so high that authentication fees are completely justified. The story of the 2002p Roosevelt Dime, worth $79 million, proves several important truths about modern coin collecting. First, that valuable rarities are still being discovered by ordinary people in ordinary circumstances, not just by wealthy collectors or professional dealers. Second, that modern coins can equal or exceed the value of historical rarities when they possess the right combination of errors, condition, and historical significance. Third, that knowledge and attention to detail are the keys to success in coin collecting, because the widow's husband who originally found this coin recognized something unusual and preserved it even though he didn't know its full value. Fourth, that professional authentication and grading are absolutely essential for high-value coins, because only certified authentication provides the certainty needed to support multi-million-dollar transactions. And fifth, that the treasure hunt is far from over, because new discoveries continue to happen every year, proving that anyone who searches diligently has a legitimate chance of finding something valuable. So here's my challenge to you. After watching this video and learning about these 6 incredible Roosevelt Dimes worth a combined $295 million, I want you to take action. Go through your pocket change, check your coin jars, search bankrolls, visit estate sales and flea markets, and most importantly, actually look at the coins you encounter every day instead of just spending them without a second thought. Remember, every single one of the coins we discussed today was found by someone who took the time to pay attention, who recognized something unusual, who pursued authentication and grading, and who ultimately experienced the life-changing thrill of discovering a treasure that most people would have spent at face value. Maybe, just maybe, the next $79 million coin is sitting in your pocket right now, waiting for you to discover it. The only way to find out is to start looking. Thank you so much for watching Error Coins Hunter. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the most valuable Roosevelt Dimes ever created, Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more incredible rare coin content, and drop a comment below telling me if you're going to start checking your 2022, 2018, 2013, 2012, 2003, and 2002 Roosevelt Dimes. And hey, if you actually find one of these valuable varieties, come back and let me know because I would absolutely love to hear your success story. Until next time, happy hunting, keep your eyes open, and remember that fortune favors the observant. Your $1 million coin might be closer than you think.